What if I told you that the secret to building a billion-dollar company isn't finding millions of paying customers, but getting hundreds of millions of users who will never pay you a single cent? It sounds like business suicide, right? It's the total opposite of everything we're taught about how a business is supposed to work. And yet, this completely backward strategy is exactly how companies like Dropbox, Slack, and Spotify became the giants they are today. They stared at a sea of non-paying users, a financial black hole for any normal company, and saw an engine. They turned a mob of so-called freeloaders into a multi-billion-dollar valuation. This wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a lucky break. It was a blueprint, a carefully executed four-part blueprint that uses a free product for insane growth and eventually massive profits. And today, we're going to break that blueprint down piece by piece. I'm going to show you exactly how they did it and how this freemium secret is still creating billionaires. First things first, let's get our terms straight because freemium gets thrown around a lot and is easy to misunderstand. Freemium is not a 14-day or 30-day free trial. A free trial is just a temporary taste test. Freemium is different. It's a permanent, forever free version of a product. You can sign up for the free version of Dropbox, Canva, or Slack today, and in theory, use it forever without paying anything. Now put yourself in the shoes of a startup founder. You've poured your life savings, your blood, sweat, and tears into a product. What's the one thing you need more than anything? Growth. You need users, you need traction, you need to prove to the world that people actually want what you've built. And right on cue, the freemium model starts calling your name. It looks like the ultimate growth hack. By getting rid of the biggest barrier, the price, you can open the floodgates, you can get users faster than traditional companies can even dream of. It's the promise of a huge audience and brand recognition, all without a massive marketing budget. For a little while, it feels like magic. The user numbers climb. 10,000 users, 100,000, a million. Your charts are all pointing up. You feel like you're on top of the world. But then reality hits. You look at your server bills and they're spiraling. Your tiny support team is buried in tickets. From people who aren't paying you, you are burning through cash like crazy just to support all of these non-paying users. And the most painful number of all, the conversion rate. You check how many of those millions of free users are actually upgrading to a paid plan. The industry average for freemium is brutal, usually hovering between a measly 2% and 5%. Some are even lower. That means for every 100 users you're supporting, 95 to 98 of them will probably never pay you. This is where the dream dies for most companies. They got the giant user base they wanted, but they also got giant costs with no revenue to back it up. They're drowning in their own success. They've fallen into the freemium trap and landed in the freemium graveyard, another victim of a model that promised the world but delivered a mountain of debt. It seems completely broken. So, how did anyone ever make it work? To figure out how this broken model can somehow build a billion-dollar empire, we need to talk about Dropbox. Today, Dropbox is a household name, a cloud storage titan with over 700 million registered users. But back in the late 2000s, it was just another startup with a simple idea, a folder on your computer that synced your files across all your devices. It was a great idea, but they were jumping into a crowded market. Giants like Microsoft and Google were already circling. The founders, Drew Houston and Arash Ferdowsi, looked at doing the usual thing like buying Google ads. But when they ran the numbers, it was a total dead end. The cost to get one customer through ads was way higher than the $99 they'd make from that customer's subscription. It was a losing game. They'd go broke trying to buy their way to growth. So they made a huge bet. They went all in on freemium, but with a clever twist. They offered a free plan with 2 gigabytes of storage, enough to be really useful, and then they built virality right into the product. Their referral program was legendary. Invite a friend and both of you get extra free storage space, and the result? It was explosive. Growth went viral, users flooded the platform, spreading it through friend groups, families, and offices like wildfire. In just a few years, they shot past 200 million users. A phenomenal success story, or was it? Let's think about this from a traditional investor's point of view. Here's a company burning an insane amount of money on servers for 200 million people. But their conversion rate from free to paid, at the time, it was somewhere between 1.6% and 4%. Let that sink in. For every 100 users chewing up their server space, up to 98 of them weren't paying a dime. Imagine going to a bank for a loan. I have this fantastic business. It has 200 million customers. Oh, and I lose money on 196 million of them. You'd be laughed out of the building. This is the Dropbox paradox. How could a company with what looked like the leakiest bucket in history, a business where 96% of its usage generated zero revenue, be on track for a multi-billion-dollar valuation? The answer is simple. The skeptics were looking at the wrong numbers. They saw the 96% of non-paying users as a cost, but Dropbox saw them as their greatest asset. They weren't just building a product, they were building an ecosystem following a blueprint that flipped conventional business wisdom on its head. So, what did Dropbox, Slack, Canva, and Spotify know that thousands of failed startups didn't? It wasn't luck, it was strategy. They knew that freemium isn't just a price tag, it's a whole different way of growing a business. It's built on 4 critical pillars. If you miss one, the whole thing falls apart. But if you get them right, you can build an empire. This is where most companies fail right out of the gate. They treat their free version like a crippled, feature-starved demo. It's just an annoying ad for the real paid product designed to frustrate you until you upgrade. That approach is poison. It doesn't build loyalty, it builds resentment. A winning freemium model does the opposite. The free version has to provide real standalone value. It needs to solve a real problem for free. Think about Canva. The free version of Canva is an amazing tool. You can design beautiful graphics and presentations with thousands of free templates. It basically gave design superpowers to millions of people who couldn't handle complex software like Adobe Photoshop. It gave them immense value first and asked for nothing. Dropbox did the same. 2 gigs of free storage was genuinely useful. It solved the core problem of getting files between your computer and phone. It wasn't a teaser, it was a reliable tool people could build into their daily lives. This value-first approach does something really important. It builds trust and makes your product a habit. When someone gets real value from your free product, they start to rely on it. It becomes part of their workflow. You're not just another app on their phone anymore. You're a tool they can't live without. This isn't charity. It's a long-term play. By delivering overwhelming value up front, you earn their trust. So when they finally do need more power or more features, the choice isn't about buying some new unknown tool. The choice is just to upgrade the tool they already know and love. The sale becomes a natural next step, not a pushy, painful process. Okay, so what about that big, scary problem? The 98% of users who don't pay? The old way of thinking sees them as a massive cost. The freemium blueprint sees them differently. Those millions of non-paying users are not your biggest liability. They are your most powerful and cost-effective marketing engine. This engine works in 3 key ways. First, simple word of mouth. People share things they find valuable, especially when they're free. When someone uses Canva to build a resume that lands them a job, they tell their friends. This is way more powerful than any paid ad because it comes from a trusted source. Second, and this is where it gets really clever, is engineered virality. The smartest companies don't just hope for word of mouth, they build it into the product. Dropbox's referral program is the textbook example. Invite a friend, get more free space. This was genius. It turned every user into a salesperson whose commission was paid in the product itself. It created a growth loop where users were rewarded for marketing the product for you. Third, there are network effects. This is huge for collaboration tools like Slack or Asana. The product gets better for you as more people you know use it. You invite a coworker to Slack, not just to get a reward, but because it makes the tool more useful for your own work. The users are literally building the value of the network for each other and for you. When you look at it this way, the whole equation flips. You're not losing money on 98% of your users. You're investing in a marketing machine that's bigger than anything you could afford to buy. That massive wave of free users is what constantly feeds the small percentage who do convert, creating a scalable, sustainable way to grow. All right, we're about to get into the most critical part of this whole blueprint, how you actually get people to pull out their wallets and pay without betraying the trust you've built. This is where the art and science of freemium really meet. But first, if you're getting value from this breakdown, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. I release videos just like this every week, and you won't want to miss what's coming up. All right, you've given away incredible value and turned your free users into a marketing engine. Now for the multi-billion-dollar question, how do you get them to pay? The answer is Pillar 3, the strategic gate. This is the art of carefully separating your free features from your premium ones. The trick is to design the limits of your free plan so that upgrading feels like a natural and even desirable next step for your most active users. A bad gate feels like a punishment. You hit a limit and it screams, "Playtime's over, give us your money." That just creates frustration, but a good strategic gate, it creates a totally different feeling. The user hits a limit and thinks, "Wow, I'm using this so much that I've actually outgrown the free plan. It's probably worth upgrading so I can do even more." The upgrade feels like an investment in their own success, not a tax. Let's look at the masters. Dropbox's gate was storage space. For a casual user, 2 gigabytes was fine. But the moment you became a power user, a photographer with high-res photos, or a team sharing large projects, you hit that ceiling. The pain of not being able to save your important files was way bigger than the cost of a subscription. Slack's main gate for years was its message history. The free plan only showed the last 10,000 messages. For a small team trying it out, that's no big deal. But as a company grew and started relying on Slack as its brain, that history became critical. Losing access to past decisions and files was a huge business risk. Upgrading wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. Spotify's gates are a masterclass. The most obvious one is ads. For some people, the annoyance of interruptions is enough to make them pay, but for others, the better gate is utility. On the free plan, you can't download songs for offline listening. If you commute on a subway with no signal or travel a lot, that offline feature is a killer. You're not just paying to remove an annoyance, you're paying for a critical function that fits your life. The art of the strategic gate is this. Find the features a casual user can live without, but a power user or a business cannot. Let them fall in love with the car for free, then sell them the extra horsepower once they're ready for a road trip. The fourth and final pillar is maybe the most profitable of all, and it's the B2B secret weapon hidden inside these products. It's called land and expand. Here's how it works. A single employee at a huge company discovers your product like Asana or Canva. They sign up for the free version for their own work. No need for IT's permission or a budget. They just start using it. That's the land. Your product has landed like a single seed inside a giant organization, totally under the radar. Then that employee starts collaborating with a few teammates. They invite them to their project or share a design. Now, it's not just one person using it, it's a team of 5 or 10. The seed has sprouted. The growth is happening from the bottom up. The expand phase kicks in when that team gets so hooked on the tool that they start hitting those strategic gates. They need advanced features like better security, admin controls, or special support. These are features an individual doesn't care about, but a business absolutely needs. And that's when the conversation inside the company completely changes. It's no longer one employee asking to expense a $10 subscription. It's a manager going to their boss and saying, "My entire team's productivity runs on this tool. We need to buy the enterprise version to keep our data secure and manage it properly." The product became essential before the sales team ever made a single call. The users became your champions, making the business case for you. This is how freemium acts as a Trojan horse, sneaking past the old school sales process to win massive company-wide deals that started with one free user. Slack is the ultimate proof of this strategy, infiltrating companies one team at a time until it was so essential that companies had to buy it. Now, after all this, it's easy to think freemium is a golden ticket. It's not. For every Dropbox, there are thousands of companies in the freemium graveyard. This blueprint is powerful, but it only works under certain conditions. First, and this is the big one, freemium doesn't find your product market fit, it scales it. The idea that you can launch a mediocre product, give it away, and get successful is a fantasy. If people don't truly want what you have, giving it away for free just means you'll get a lot of users who don't care and will never pay. The founders of MailChimp spent years as a paid-only profitable business before they launched their famous free plan. They proved people would pay first, then use freemium to hit the gas. Second, you've got the high-cost, high-touch problem. Freemium works best for software where adding another user costs almost nothing. But if your product needs a lot of human help, like complicated setup or tons of support, freemium will bankrupt you. You can't afford to give that level of service to 1 million people if 98% of them aren't paying. Third is the niche market trap. The math of freemium depends on having a massive number of users at the top of the funnel to make the low conversion rates work. You need a product with broad appeal. If you're in a super specialized niche like software for dental labs, your total market is just too small. A direct sales model or a free trial makes way more sense. And finally, you have the cannibalization conundrum. This is the tightrope walk. Make your free version too good and nobody will ever have a reason to upgrade. You'll eat into your own revenue, but make it too limited and nobody will stick around long enough to see the value, and your marketing engine will never even start. It requires constant testing and a deep understanding of what your users truly need. So, what is the freemium secret that creates billionaires? It's the radical idea that your greatest asset isn't just your paying customers, it's the attention and loyalty of everyone who uses your product. It's not about just giving stuff away. It's a meticulously engineered 4-part blueprint for explosive growth. It starts with the value first principle. Earning trust by giving away real value before asking for a dime. It's fueled by the marketing engine concept, seeing your millions of non-paying users not as a cost, but as your best marketing team. It's monetized through the strategic gate, creating a painless upgrade path that turns your biggest fans into paying customers. And it's scaled through the land and expand motion. Using your free product as a Trojan horse to conquer the world's biggest companies from the inside out. When you get this right, it's not just a business model, it's a machine for creating fans. It turns users into advocates and advocates into customers. So while the old guard is asking, can you really afford to have millions of free users? The new wave of founders is asking something else entirely. In a world of infinite choice, can you afford not to? If you enjoyed this breakdown, let me know in the comments which company's strategy you'd like to see next. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a deep dive. Now go build something amazing.